Hey guys! So, wanting to know what are dictionaries in Python, how to make them, and what are the different methods and functions that can apply on dictionaries in Python, then this video is just made for you. Before we hop on into this video, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. So, let's get started. Now what you can see here, this is a collection of data. It is having more than one elements together, and all of this is a different data type. Like the first element is a string, that is text. The second element is an integer, number. Then here the last element is true. True means boolean. So this is a collection of data together. That's how it makes a list. But storing a collection in this form, do you think this is the best and it is having the most information that can be provided? So the answer is no. So how can you store this in a more efficient way? And that is using dictionaries. Now one thing to note, here in list, the first one is having the position 0. The 34, that is the age, is having the position 1. The gender having the position 2. And whether the person is an employee permanent or not, that's having the position 3. That is a list. But what happens in a dictionary? Things will change in a dictionary. So for the same data, let's make a dictionary. So what you have to do, you have to first, and the foremost thing that you have to do is, instead of square bracket, you need to have curly brackets. Okay, and now that's the first thing to do. You will provide an extra information. This first quantity, what is this first quantity? This is the name. What is name? Name is the text. That is why I have to write in quotes. After that, there will be a semicolon, or sorry, a colon. Okay, you have to put a colon. Then what is the next quantity? The next quantity being age. So I'll put it as a text, and then I'll put colon. Then again, what is the third quantity? It's gender, and again colon. What is the last quantity? I have to name all of them. Permanent. Okay. Again, this being a text, we have to put it inside quotes, and after quotes there will be a colon. So what is this? What do I mean by this? So every element that you store, that is Neha, 34, female, true, these are your values, these are your elements that you're storing, and every element is having something attached to it. That is what you call as keys. So name, age, gender and permanent are keys. Every value in your dictionary is linked to a key. They are not having positions. Neha is not the 0th position. 34 was not the second position. Here in dictionaries, every element is not linked with position. Rather, they are linked with the key. So in dictionaries, you have key value pairs. Now obviously there is some rules that is fixed for keys and values. Your keys can be only immutable data type. Immutable means you can't directly change that data type. What is included that can come as keys? One being strings, next being tuple, then you can have integers or any numerical values. Whereas for your values, you can have any data type. You can have lists, strings, you can have also real numbers, boolean, you can even have dictionaries as your values. So this is about dictionaries, where your elements, that is your values, are attached with a key. This basically means that name is pointing to Neha, age is pointing to 34. This is how you will make a dictionary. Let's make another example of a dictionary where I can have like something different. What can I have? I can have numbers over here, like say I have files in my computer, in my PC. So I can have it as 1. I have 1 CSV file. Then I have 5 PNG files. Then what do I have? I have 2 JPEG files. So what I'm doing over here, I am basically having my values as 1, 5, 2, and my value, these are my keys, okay, 152, and each of these keys are having strings as their values. So this is how you make a dictionary. Now let's take this, our main dictionary that we'll be dealing with this entire tutorial, and see what all can you do with dictionaries. How can one access contents of a dictionary? That basically means that, I have this whole big dictionary. Maybe from this huge dictionary I just want to know the name, the age of the person one. So how will I extract that age from the person one dictionary? So how you have to do, you have to write the name of the dictionary. So here in our case it is person one, then in square brackets. In other cases, like in strings or in list, what you could do, you could write the name of that variable, and inside the square bracket you could write the position whose value you want. But because in dictionaries you don't have positions to any value, you have keys. So what do I want? I want this age part, that is 34. So what is the key that is attached to it? It is age. So inside the square bracket in quotes I will write age. From dictionary, what is the name of the dictionary? The name of the dictionary is person one. Please give me age. And now, so we have to run the first one first, then this. So it is given me, it is 34. Like that I can extract anything. If for my wish I want to extract the name, I will write name inside it, and it is giving me the name. That's how you access contents from your dictionary. That was the one method, by having your name of the dictionaries and in square bracket the key whose value you want to extract. Next method is using the get method. Now this is a different way of extracting your values. So let's just keep the dictionary in front of us so that we can use the get method. Now how will I make use of the get method? So let's take an example for a key that is already present. I am finding a value for a, let's say, gender. What is the gender of the person one? Using the get method, how will I do that? So what you have to do is get person one, like same as you did for the extraction using accessing content, but here no square bracket. You have to directly write dot get, because it's a method. So any method you do, you have to have a dot and then get. Then comes bracket. Inside the bracket you have to write, obviously you have to write the name that you want, age. Now let's run. So it is giving me the person from the person one dictionaries dot get me what? Get me the value of the key age. So I have to write my key inside this, and it gave me the value. Now what if a key is not present? What will happen then? Let's use that. So let's take the experience. So this is a key that is there in the dictionary person one. No, it's not there. Let's see what is the reply that we get. So I have run the cell. There's no reply that I get. And if you want something as a reply, so you can have that. You can set a default value with comma, and let's say I want no such key. Okay, so what is this? Get default value. So if my experience, first of all, what you have to do, from person one, get me the value of the key experience, and it will give me if it is present. If it is not present, then the second parameter that's there in the bracket will be printed. So now let's run and see this cell. So what happened? Experience key was not there, so it printed me no such key. You can have anything set as the default value, and suppose I print here gender, because gender is something that is already there in our list. If you see over here, we are having the gender key, so obviously I should have it as a capital G, and then I run this. So the second parameter is not of any use. It found gender, it printed the value of gender, but if it was not there, then it will print the next parameter that I have passed. So that was how you can access your contents. Next comes looking at all your elements. Now that you have a dictionaries, and this was what we have as the employee one, is a very tiny dictionary. It's not having so many contents. You can just see that at a single glance. But real life, you have big, huge collections of data, and that time you can't see the entire keys, all the values. So you might want to look at what all keys are there in my in my dictionary. So how do you do that? So you have to write the name of your dictionary, that is person 1, then keys, values. This is the method to extract that. So that the method is dot keys, and obviously round bracket. So what you have to do, you have to write the dictionary whose keys you want to see and look at, dot, because it's a method and the name of the method is keys. Now when I run this cell using shift enter, you can see it is giving me the list. It's giving me a list, okay, and the list is of all the keys that I have: the name, the age, this is the gender, and the permanent. These are all my keys that are storing my values. So this is what I get. One more thing I wanted to tell you is you can think of this keys as the name of the variable. That's not exactly what it means, but you can think. Neha is obviously a name, and I am storing this inside a personal one. So, but there are so many things stored inside personal one. So, it can be thought of as Neha is actually stored in the variable name. Like how you store x is equal to a. You can just think of it like that, okay, to make things simple for you. That was looking at all the keys, and this method gave me the list of all the keys. But what if I was interested in the values? So the keys will be just changed to values, okay, and now you can see the values of my list are given. These were my values, right? Neha, 34, female, that I got. What if I want to see a combination of both? So that is what you call as items. In a dictionaries, having keys and values together, you call them items. So that's, I'll just replace my values with items. Now I can see I am getting a list. So this is a list that I am getting of all my items, and each item is showed as a tuple. First element of the tuple being the key and the second element being the value. So that was about items. The next thing that we have is adding values, or you can even think of changing values. So let's take our dictionary that we are having and let's make some changes. So now there are two ways in which you can make the changes. Two reasons why you want to make. So I have an existing key and I want to make changes to that existing key. Maybe I have permanent, I want to change permanent to true. How can I do that change? So it's going to be simple. How you use person 1, how you use for accessing, you have to do the same thing. So person 1, and inside square bracket, who do I want to change? So I want to change permanent. I'll just simply write what I want to change, and directly I will write equal to what is the change that I want. I want to convert it to false. Okay, this might be my change. So what I have to do, I have to assign from person 1 the permanent key as false. Whatever might be the original value, just change it to whatever I want using equal to, and I'll just run this cell. Now let me print person 1 and see what the value I am getting. So print person 1. It will just automatically get changed. So you can see permanent is changed to false. It was originally true and now it is false. So this was a change that I made to something that was originally there, to a key that was originally there. And suppose I want to add something, that is, I don't have a key, I want to add a key to the dictionary. What is the method? The method is going to be the same, just the difference is you will have the name of the dictionary where you want to add something. Inside the quotes, you have to simply have the key that you want to add, and equal to operator will be the same, and what value do you want to give it. So maybe just for our convenience, let's write the date of joining of that person, and inside quotes maybe I'll just keep it simple as year of joining, and maybe the year of joining is 2012. Okay, so how do you add a new key to a dictionary or a new value to your dictionary? It is as simple as having person 1, the name of the dictionary, in the square bracket what is the new key that you want, and equal to sign and the value that you want. Okay, now that we have run this cell, let's print our dictionary and see. So now you can see year of joining is automatically added. There is another way in which you can change your values or your dictionary completely is using the updating method. Now updating method is used when, suppose that I have my original dictionary that I already have here, that is this person 1. Okay, now let's, for our convenience, let's take, we have another dictionary, maybe person 1 dot d. Okay, and it is the same data, it is the data of that same person only, and maybe there's some change, the person has become 1 year older, or there's a change like here it has become false. These are the two changes that are there. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to update my original dictionary. You know what updating means in real life? It's the same over here. You have something that is old, and you want to add something new, like you have your apps in your mobile phone. So there are old features that are already there. There's some new feature that comes. So you have to update your apps so that those new features are coming in the place of the old features. So the same thing over here. This is my original dictionary or my old dictionary, which is having certain values. Then I have another dictionary which is having certain new values and certain values that are changed. So let me show you one more thing. So I again have this year of joining in my new dictionary. Okay, let us again take it as 2000. So what I am telling is, now my old dictionary is having certain values. My new dictionary that I have, it is having some keys value to be changed. I mean the values of the keys to be changed, and there are some added key and values. So that is what I have. Now what I want to do, I want to update my original dictionary. That means whatever old things are there, let it be there. If there is some changes in the old thing, do that changes. If there are anything new that is added, please add that to my dictionary. So I want a complete update to my previous old dictionary using the new dictionary. How is that to be done? So it's going to be very simple. You write your old dictionary that you want to be updated. Then we have this method, that is the update method. The name is update, and inside the bracket I have to write my new dictionary, that is going to be the updated version, and that is going to be helping us update our old dictionary. So I run this cell. So let me run the previous one first. What is the problem? Invalid syntax. So there is something invalid, and that was the equal to sign. Okay, now let me run this, and again let me run the next one. So now what happens is, my everything that was there in this will be there. Any changes made to any of the values, that will be made. Any new key that is added, that will be added. Let's print and see our person 1. So let's do print person 1 and look for any changes. So now you can see name was same in both my updated and the previous one, so that did not get changed. Age was updated, there was an increase in the age, so that got changed. Permanent and female, I mean gender, remained the same. There was a new key, year of joining, that was added, that got added to my old previous dictionary. So that's how you update your previous dictionary using a new dictionary. Next comes deleting keys. Deleting keys, obviously you can think of it as deleting values also. If you delete a key, obviously its corresponding value will be deleted. One is using the delete method. The easiest way, write delete, and what do you want to delete? From person 1, square bracket, which key do you want me to delete? Maybe I want to delete year of joining. Simple, write the delete keyword that is used to deleting, the name of the dictionary from where you want to do the deleting, and what do you want to delete, the key. Okay, and run that cell. Now let's print and see if that is deleted or not. So that year of joining got deleted, that year of joining is no more there. Another method is the pop method. How do you use the pop method? So you have to write your dictionary name, that is person 1, then you have to write dot pop, that's a method that we will be using, and inside the bracket what do you want it to be popped. So again Now let's take, for example, I want to pop out permanent. I'm not interested whether it's permanent or not. Inside the bracket, in quotes, I'm writing permanent. In quotes, why? Because permanent is a string. If it would not be a string, I would have written simply, okay? However it was. And I run it. Now what pop is giving me? Pop will show me which value is being deleted, because I am passing a key inside pop. I'm writing the dictionary from where I want to do the deletion. I'm writing the dot pop, that is the method, and inside the round bracket I'm writing the value that I want to be deleted. Pop is returning me something, and it is returning me the value that it removed. When I use the delete keyword, it did not return something. It did the deletion and that's it. But here it is doing the deletion and it is also showing me that what was the value that got removed. Let's print and see. Now you can see permanent is no more there. Okay, so now that I have a dictionary in my memory, that's stored in my memory, I'm not interested in that dictionary. So one of the dictionary that we are not interested might be this person1 underscore d, because we have already made the update to our dictionary. So use the delete keyword like always and the dictionary that you want to delete, and it is deleted. Let's check if it is deleted or not. So I'll print the dictionary and see. So they are telling the person1 underscore dictionary is not defined. That means it is not there in the location, in the memory location, it is not found. That's how you delete a dictionary. So the next is a very interesting thing, that is set default value. In the beginning itself, I told you that you can think that Neha is stored inside the variable name, 34 is stored inside the variable age, or something like this. That's not exactly how it is, because you can have something like 1, 2 also, but I'm just telling you. So here you can use set default in a different way. That is basically, if I want to access something again and again, I have to use person. From person1, what do I want? Extract me the name. Suppose that from this dictionary person1, the name of that person1 is very important, and you will be needing that again and again in your program. So instead of again and again accessing that value using person1 square bracket name or using dot get, you can just set the value using the dictionary. So I can just say person, or I can just make it simple, name1. Name1, that means name of the person1 is from the person1 dictionary dot set default value, and in the bracket what do I want to set the bracket name. So what I'm telling, I'll just repeat and explain the command. Name1, the name of the person1 that is there, I'm storing is as name1, and I'm finding that I'm not actually typing that value out, I'm actually extracting this from the person1 dictionary and keeping and saving it. How do I do that? The name of the dictionary, then the dot set default method or the keyword that is to be used, and inside the bracket what do I want to set its value to. So from person1, set the default value as name. From the person1 dictionary, take the key name, and whatever value of that key is there in the dictionary, set the value of name1 to be that by default. Okay, let me run this. Now I will print and show you name1 variable, and you will just be surprised to see what value it has got, and it has got the value Neha. So what was this basically? Basically you're extracting something from your dictionary and saving its value to a variable using the dot set default. You can have it as maybe maybe age, you're interested in the person1 age, and I could save that as age of the person1, and when I print the age of the person1, I can see that it is having the same value, that was 30. Now the next one is copying one dictionary from another dictionary. That's very common thing that you do, because you don't want to keep writing and entering data again and again. You might use copy method. So I have a person1, I want to make a duplicate copy of this person1 dictionary. Let's name it person1.duplicate. One of the methods that I can use is simply equal to sign person1. What I'm saying, person1 duplicate is same as person1, equal to person1. and enter. Now let's print the value of this duplicate value, so you know that's a duplicate dictionary and how it is looking. Now you can see it is looking the same as the person one. So that was the first thing. But what happens actually over here? Let's make a change to our person one dictionary. Let me change the permanent to maybe false. Okay, that's the easiest thing that I can do. From person one, take the keep permanent and change it value to false. That's what I can change. Okay, and then print me. So I am making the change in which dictionary. Please note that I am making this to the original one, that is the person one. Now let me print both my dictionaries. Okay, let us print both the dictionaries and see how this change has affected both of them. So my person one is my first dictionary that is printed. Its permanent change to false, but the duplicate one's also permanent change to false. So what happens in a equal to copy? Equal to copy is basically that this duplicate, that you're having person one underscore duplicate, it's not actually a new dictionary that is created. There's no dictionary that is created again. This new name I have given to that original dictionary only. The person one is the name of the dictionary, no doubt. I'm creating another name, I'm creating another value, another variable which is having the same values of this, which is not actually a dictionary, just it is another name, it is the same object and pointing to the same dictionary. It's just something that is pointing. Okay, so it's not a new dictionary that is created. That is why any change I do to this one, it is shown in the duplicate also. If I make a change to my duplicate, that will also be shown in my original. Why is this? Because they both are same dictionary and they are pointing to a same dictionary. These are just two names that we are giving to the original dictionary only. So when I am telling you, I'll just show you that also. Let's make another changes. So I am taking my duplicate now. Okay, I'm taking the duplicate and I'm changing this back to true. What did I do? Person one duplicate wala dictionary, take that, and in that the permanent ko change karo to true. Now let's run printing of both the two. Now you see both of them got changed. I to change the duplicate only. So when you use equal to sign to make a copy of a dictionary, a new dictionary is not created, just a new name, already name that is there, a new name is created. And actually, if I talk in technical terms, your person one duplicate is a dictionary that is having reference to each of these elements, or I can say reference to the original dictionary. Reference means it is storing all the location, memory location of all your elements. That is why any changes made to the memory location is reflected in the either of the two. So that was like the first thing that I wanted to tell you, using copy, using the equal to. Now that's like something that you will not want. You're making a copy so that you can have the original ones as it is and you can just keep changing your copied version. So that's how you can do using the dot copy method. So I've just written it wrong over here. It is supposed to be the dot copy method. It's going to be very easy again. So we have our original dictionary named person one. Let's create a duplicate dictionary. Okay, so how do I create this using copy method? So I have to just simply say this duplicate is equal to my original name, that is person one dictionary dot copy, and in the brackets nothing, empty brackets. Okay, run this cell. Now let me just print and show you both the dictionaries so you get clear. So what is happening? My person one is as it is and my person one duplicate is looking the same. Now in this method when I use, there are two different dictionaries. Person one is another dictionary and person one underscore duplicate is another dictionary. They are two different dictionaries, not like the equal to way. In equal to, they were both same dictionary. The original dictionary was the only dictionary that was there in the location, and person one and person underscore duplicate were pointing to that same dictionary. Whereas using the copy method, there is a new dictionary that is person one created, and the elements of those dictionaries, the person one underscore duplicate, is the copied from all of these elements. So the same elements that are there in this are copied to the duplicate one. Okay, let's make a changes to any one of them. Let's make a change to our original dictionary's name to Neha, from Neha to Neha. Okay, I'll run this cell. Now I've made a change to my original dictionary. Please note that. Let's now print both the dictionary. What is happening? First, I'm printing my original dictionary, so where I had made the change of Neha, that's there, the change you can see. But in the duplicate, there's no change. So what is happening? Using this dot copy, what I am doing is I am creating a dictionary which is not affected by any change in the original one. Similarly, let me just change the name of the duplicate. Let's see any changes there will make a change or not. So I am changing the age to, let's take 35, 36, okay, 35. Okay, I'm changing to what one? To the duplicate one. Okay, now let's print either. Okay, so what do I see? The person one, the age is not changed. I'm printing first the person one, but the change I made to the duplicate is reflected only in the duplicate. That's how you make a copy of your list where they are independent of the other, where there are two. The duplicate is actually a new list that is formed by copying its element. Next, we have nested dictionaries. Now, what do you think nested dictionaries are? Nested dictionary is like more complicated dictionary. It basically means the values that you have, some of the values or all the values or any one or two, any values is a dictionary itself. I told you in the beginning, right? What did I tell you? I told you that your dictionaries keys, that is name, age, these are the keys. They have to be compulsorily immutable, like what? Like strings, tuples, or real numbers or booleans. But your keys can be anything, and they can be dictionaries themselves. So if you're having this big dictionary and some of the values are dictionaries themselves, that's what you call as a nested dictionary. So let me just make a new dictionary. Let me name it P1. Okay, it's person one. I want to add like experience of my employee. What is the experience? So this is the key that I'm giving, employee experience. Now what is the problem is, I know that the it's going to be a dictionary. Let me just show you with a list and then I will change it to a dictionary. So the person is worked in the company Tata, then the person has worked in the company Jio, and the person has worked in the company Amazon. Okay, these are the, I think, the three companies my person has worked in. But I'm also interested in how many years that person has worked in each of the company. So for that purpose, I will have to have another key that will be years, and in that I will be having again list, and I have to write for Tata he has joined 2 years, then 3 years for Jio, and 4 years for Amazon. This way I will have to have my another list. So what I'm having for this experience only, I'm having a list that is having all the places where that person worked and how many years that person worked. For that I have to have another key. So that's going to be not a good task, right? So what I'll do, I can make things simple for me by simply having a dictionary. And how will I do that? So let's just rub this off. I will have my value as dictionaries. Okay, all my company names are going to be my keys, and my values are going to be the years that person worked in that place. And for values I have to have colon, maybe 2 years over here. For Jio, that person worked 3 years, and maybe for Amazon the person might have worked only 1 year. So what did I do? This is a huge dictionary. I'll just make some permanent as P only, so that we can easily see the entire thing. I hope we can see. I don't think so we are able to see, but let's make some yeah, I think now we can, it's better. So what I'm having, my experience is a key that I have in my dictionary, and the value of the experience is again a dictionary itself. And what is stored in a dictionary? What is stored? In that dictionary, the keys are the company names the employee has worked in, and the values are each year for that company. So my dictionary is inside itself having a key whose value is a dictionary. That is what a nested dictionary looks like. That's like a single one. I could have more than that also. Like I could have certificates that person is having. So I could have the certificate key, and the values I have to have a colon, and that's a dictionary. What I'm storing in the dictionary, so all the certificate that person is having, he's having a certificate for SAS, comma, he's having a certificate for maybe Python itself, and that person is also having a certificate for, let's say, R programming. Okay, now obviously it's these are my keys. Okay, this is a dictionary, this is a big dictionary, so it has to have values. So maybe I'm having the grades or marks. Let's take the marks. So that person is having 90% for the SAS certificate, and that person is having 75% for Python, and the other one, let's take 74% for R. So you can see there are two dictionaries that are there inside a big dictionary. That's what you call as a nested dictionary. Now, there are many purposes where you require nested dictionary. Actually, nested dictionaries is only used widely because there's so much of data that it can be inputted in a single collection. Okay. Now, let's say I have this big dictionary. Let's copy it and let's go to the next part. What if I want to access elements? Okay, indexing, that I mean access element from the nested dictionary. Now extracting from this big dictionary, extracting name is very easy, right? You write the name of the dictionary and then you have to write simply the key that you want. Suppose I wanted name, and that's going to be very simple to extract. Why it's going to be very simple? Because it's going to be as simple as, you know, writing the name and writing the key. But when it comes to a nested dictionary, that becomes very difficult. So I'll show you how you can do that. Suppose from this P1 dictionary, I want to extract the number of years the person has worked in Amazon. Now that's like a tedious task, right? So first thing first, I'll have to write the name of my dictionary. What is the name of my dictionary? It is very simple, and it is as simple as P1. So I wrote P1 inside the bracket. Will go the key that I want. First look at the outer keys, name or age or gender or permanent or experience or or do I want the certificates? So I know I want experience, so I'll write that in quotes. Why quotes? Because experience is itself a string. Then let me just print and show you what do I get. So I get this dictionary. Now from this dictionary, what do I want to extract? Again extracting, that is why square bracket. Now which key do I want from this? I want Tata, I want Jio, or I want Amazon. So as simple as I want Amazon, that I know I want Amazon. Now when I enter, now you see the, so this one that we saw, you know, that was a single nested list, one list, another list inside it. You could also have inside this nested part, you know, the certificates or experience list, you could have some keys which are having themselves a list, dictionaries. I'll show you an example. Like, you know, this is the certificate key is having a dictionary, and in that dictionary we have SAS, we have Python, and we have R. I could have, like, you know, in Python also, what are the different things that that person did. Again, that in the form of dictionaries. What did that person do? So that person did basics, and what was the marks for the basics? I could write that in as my value. So maybe he got 75. Then the second element being, what did he do? He did advanced. So advanced can be the, you know, this thing, and how much marks did that person get for, maybe he got 98 for advanced. So what I did, I'll just minimize it. Okay, so what we are having this big dictionary named P1, and inside that dictionary I have a certificate as a key. One of the key is certificate, and this particular key certificate is having the value as this big dictionary, whose values are SAS, Python, and R. One of the value Python is its value is again a dictionary with keys basic and advanced. So now you see how many dictionaries within the dictionaries we are having. Suppose now I want to extract how many marks that person got for Python basics. Now that is going to be very tedious job. Okay, again it's not going to be tedious, actually it's going to be simple again. So I have to just write the name of my dictionary as usual. Then what is that outermost key that I want? I know I will start with name, no age, no gender, no permanent, no experience, no certificate, yes. So the outermost key that I want is certificate, and I'll close the bracket. Let me just enter it. So now you see this big dictionary. Let us just maximize it. Okay, so what do I see? Now this is what is extracted. From this, what do I want? okay, I'll just run this cell first, then I'll run this. Yeah, now this is the huge dictionary, that is the certificate. I told from P1 give me the value of certificate key, so this was the value that is there. From this big dictionary, I want the first SAS element, no. I want Python key, yes. I want the value for Python key. So inside the next square bracket it will be that key, that is Python. Now when I enter, I get the Python values. Now from this dictionary, again it's a dictionary, which element do I want? Do I want the value of basic key or the advanced key? Yeah, I want for the basic. So again a square bracket, basic. In the starting, when you're not aware, you can just do one by one and check. Now you can see I got 76. That's how you do, that's how you extract values. This was about just extracting the value. What if I want to change some value in the nested part? Again, very simple change. I'll just copy the dictionary, that's a big dictionary to remember. Okay, now this is my dictionary. If I want to change the age of this big nested dictionary, it's going to be as simple as we did by till now. You know, we have done so many things. Write the name inside the square bracket, write the key that you want to change, and directly assign the value that you want, maybe 36, 56, sorry, I wrote a big number, maybe 36, okay, and I enter it and it's done automatically, okay. But what about I want to change something in the nested part? Let's take for that matter, I want to change the value of R to 94. It was not 74, it was 94. How will I do that? So it's going to be the same thing as you did for extracting. What did we do? We wrote the name of the dictionary. That's how we did the extraction. The name of the dictionary, then the outermost key. So outermost key has to be certificate. I want to make changes to the R key. So that's the outermost key is certificate. Enter and see what's coming. So it's coming this big thing with the keys as SAS, Python and R. So from this I want the R key, okay, capital R. Then I get 74. I want to change this, so I have to just directly say equal to 94, and now I'll just enter. Okay, that's as simple as you do, as if you're accessing that value, and just put a equal to and get your value. So now you can see the R is coming as 94. That's how you change the values in the nested part. Now you might have done copy over here, yeah, using equal to, using the dot copy method, but those both of them were for the non-nested things, okay. When you're dealing with nested dictionaries, the better way to do is using shallow copy or deep copy. Now what is shallow copy exactly? If you might have watched the video on lists, you might know that how shallow copy and deep copy works. If you haven't, then we'll do over here, you'll understand it. So what is shallow copy and how it is done and what does it do, we will do by actually performing a shallow copy. So I'll just again, you know, to copy my dictionary so that we can have a dictionary at our glance while we do the copy. So this is my dictionary that I have. Now let's make a copy of this. So let me name it P1 underscore copy. Okay, I'll just name it only P1 underscore copy. And how do I do shallow copy? So before I go ahead, this shallow copy and deep copy is there in a module. These both are functions, okay, and they are stored in a module. Module is basically a file that is having many functions stored together, and the name of that module is copy. So you have to actually get that module into this program. So that is using import and the name of the module copy. The next step is the name of the copy dictionary. And how do I use this copy function? Shallow copy is done using from the copy module, give me the copy function, and using the copy function, copy the P1 dictionary. I'll just make you understand what I meant over here. Firstly, I imported that module that is having the shallow copy function. What is the name of the shallow copy function? It is copy only. So how do I do? My copy dictionary, whose name is P1 underscore copy, is equal to from the copy module dot, means extract me, give me, use the copy function. There is a copy function inside this, and in the bracket what do I want to copy? So the dictionary name, okay, and I'll just run the cell. Now I'll just, for your convenience, I'll just print the copied version and show you how it looks. Okay, now let me press enter. So you can see it's the same thing as my original dictionary. Now what I'll do is let's make some changes to our original dictionary. Okay, so P1, change the name to, it's Neha, right? Let's change it back to Neha. Okay, this is a change that I'm doing to my original dictionary. Okay, now let me do another thing. Let me print for you both the dictionary. So now remember, I've made a change to my original dictionary. Now let's print both the dictionaries. Print P1 underscore copy. Okay, let me run both the cells. So I have done P1, change name and change this. Now it's going to be looking little bit tedious, so I'll just make things simple for you. Print, let's print some dash. Okay, so it's being separated. Okay, so the first one is my original one. So the name, what is the name? Over here the name is Neha. Okay, now you can see in the original one the name is Neha. That's what I did. Okay, I changed the name to Neha for the original one, but my copied version did not have that changed thing. Okay, so that's what a shallow copy does. It does not change the original, the other one, the copied version. It will not make that changes. But remember, only for the non-nested part. Let me make a change to the nested part. So I'll just make things simple for myself and for you as well. So let's take this, copy this. Now you know one thing, that the score of R is 74. Okay, remember that. Now let's make some changes to the score of R in our original file. I mean in the original dictionary. Okay, so what I'm doing, P1, from P1. So this is basically, I'll just go up and show you my P1. So this is the printed version of my P1. Go to certificates, that is basically come here. Then from certificate go to the R key here and assign, it's the value 74, right? Let's give him 100, let him be happy. Okay, I'm giving, let her be happy, sorry. And then I'm giving the value 100. I'm doing this change to my P1. Let's run this cell. Now the next thing that I'll do is, let me print for you both the dictionaries. Now remember, again I made a change to the nested part, that also of my original dictionary. Now you see, the change for R was made in my original as well as my new copied version. So what does this mean? What is shallow copy exactly doing? Whenever you make a change to the non-nested part, that means the elements that are actually not dictionaries themselves, values that are not dictionaries themselves, those are not collections themselves. Okay, they can be even list is also a collection. Any change that you make to a non-collection item, that is not list or dictionaries, should not be that element, they should be something else, then that they change, that will not be reflected in your copied version. But if you make any change to the nested part, that is to the collection part, that will be reflected in both, in the copied as well as in the non-copied. Now here what I did, here I was again making changes to my original one. The same way, if you make any changes to the copied one, okay, let's make some changes to the copied one. Here you have your copied version, right? Let's make a change to the, not R, let's make something different. From certificate, go to SAS. Okay, let's make a change to SAS and give that person the value 91. Okay, what I'm doing this change to, remember that. Okay, I'm doing this change to the copied version. I'll do that change and I'll just print also for you so that things become more simple. Now because I'm doing a change to the copy, let me keep the copied version up and the non-copied version down, so that you know. Okay, let's run this cell. So what did I do? First let's see. I, from the P1 copy dictionary, that is a copied version, changed the SAS to 91. The first one is copy. Okay, go to SAS. Here it is SAS. It is changed to 91. And then the original dictionary, here also it is changed to 91. So what is happening? It does not make a difference for the nested part which dictionary you are making the change in. Either of the dictionary you make, it will be reflected in both. That's what a shallow copy is. So what do I exactly mean by shallow copy? When I am making a copy using this copy method, what is happening is there's a new dictionary that is created, but what elements are there in the dictionary are not actually these elements. They are not all of them. What is stored inside this dictionary, they are not all of these also. What is stored inside this copied version is reference to only the nested part, like the dictionaries that are there within the dictionary. This part, references only to of the nested. They are non-nested parts, nothing to do with that. Why? Then what is happening? What do I mean by references? Basically means this dictionary, the copied version, is storing the memory location. You can think like that. It is storing memory location values of all these nested part only. Okay, it is storing for certificate value, for experience value only. That is why any change that is happening in the memory location is directly reflected in the either of the two. A non-nested path, nothing is happening. So that was shallow copy. Now this is not that you will always want that, you're making a change and it is reflected in both of them and either of them. That's something that we would want, is that if I make a change to the copied version, it should only be reflected in the copied version. My copied version should be completely independent of my original version. Any change to the original should not be reflected in the copy. Any change to the copy should not be reflected in the original for my nested type of dictionary. That's when deep copy comes. So for this, again, the deep copy function is there in the module name copy, and I'll just first of all, let's keep our original dictionary in front of us so that copying is a little bit easy. So what I'm doing, I'm importing copy. My dictionary is this. My p1 underscore copy is going to be a deep copy. How do I get deep copy function? So from the copy module dot get me the function named deep copy, and copy what? Copy p1. Now I'll just explain you what you don't need to put quotes, because this is the name of a variable. You never put variable name inside quotes. So what do I do? My p1 underscore copy is going to be a dictionary, and how will I make this dictionary? Using deep copy function. Where is this deep copy function? This is in the copy module. So I write copy, from the copy give me deep copy. That is why dot decopy, and what I want to copy, I want to copy this p1 inside this p1 underscore copy. I'll just run this cell. Now for your convenience, I'll just print and show how this one looks like. The copied version, it's going to be the same. Okay, now let's make some change to the original dictionary and also obviously the nested part. Okay, now to save time, let's just copy and keep it over here. So now you can see the R over here is 94. The score for R programming, the person is having 94. What I am doing, I am taking my original name, that is P1 dictionary, go to the certificate key, all around till here certificate, and in that certificate go to R, that's what I'm doing over here, and give it the value 94. Just replace 74 to 94. I'm doing this change to my original one. Okay, and then I'll print for you the original one as well as the copied one. Let's see if there is some changes or there's no changes. I'll just print this for the separation. Okay, 1 minute. So you have to have this in quotes because this is again a string. Now what you see, the first one, I've made a change to the R to 94. So that's there in my P1, that's the original one. But my copied version is not having that change, because my copied version is deep copy. It is a completely independent version, and that's why you can't see that in my new copied version. That is deep copy. So what is happening in deep copy, when I use this copy.deep copy function of P1, that means this here a new dictionary is formed and all the elements from this dictionary are copied to that dictionary, and it's completely independent dictionary. So that was a lot about dictionaries. If you wish to summarize everything, in the description box below we have a cheat sheet to all that you learned about dictionaries. Do make it a point to download it. Now summarizing, we saw what are dictionaries, how to access certain contents using the square brackets, how to use and the dot get method to access contents, how to look at all the keys, the values and the items together, how to add new values, how to update a dictionary using another dictionary, how to delete using the delete method, how to delete values using the pop method, how to delete an entire dictionaries, how to set default values and give variable name to certain keys in your dictionaries, how to copy dictionaries using equal to and using the dot copy method, the non-nested dictionaries by the way, and the nested dictionaries, what are they, how to make them, how to index and access certain elements, how to change values, how to add values to the nested dictionaries, and obviously coming to copy part for nested dictionaries, how to do a shallow copy where the nested part is changes made, and then finally the deep copy that is a completely independent of the original one. The next video for you to watch is the conditional statement if.